Hey everyone, welcome to TYHub Let's Talk podcast here in the Irish Air Corps in Baldonnel. We're now joined by Rory O'Connor. Thank you for joining us, Rory.
Lovely to be here, Fiona, thank you.
And thanks for having us here for the last couple of days, talking to every lovely staff member about their careers here. We're dying to hear a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm not sure how much I'll inspire with that, but my current title is General Officer Commanding Air Corps, rank of Brigadier General. I would have joined the Air Corps 42 years ago, so I joined here as an apprentice as part of the 46 apprentice class. There was about 48 of us joined that year, and I suppose my own background, I was always interested in aviation, wanted to fly basically, but I saw the opportunity of coming here as a technician as a way to maybe help me move along that path. So I joined here as an apprentice. I completed my apprentice training. We were aligned with City and Guilds, Senior Trades in Bolton Street and ANCO at that stage. When I qualified as a technician then, I'd been applying for the cadets, so I got selected for the Air Corps cadets. I joined the cadet school in November 1986 and then got commissioned in May 1988 and started my wings course training then. And in May 1989 I got my wings then as a pilot in the Air Corps.
And how long were you a pilot for then?
Well, I've been a pilot since, so from 89 up to now, and as with every pilot I suppose who qualifies, you go through either a rotary wing or a fixed wing, depending on its helicopters or larger aircraft. I wanted to be a fixed wing pilot, and I was selected for an instructor's course very early on. So we're here, as you say, in a hangar flying training school, so I found myself back here about 6 months after I got my wings, learning how to instruct. I did that course for 6 months and as an instructor here then in the flying training school for a number of years, bringing young students, cadets in through the flying training and qualifying them then as pilots.
And you've then went into an administrative job or role after that, after becoming a trainer, and you're now in charge of everyone.
Yeah, I suppose it's taken a while to get to here, as it does. As officers in the military, in the Air Corps, we do have other jobs beside the flying, so we're always some element of administration, training aside from the pilot training. So I would have got, certainly up until around 2014, I was an operational active pilot in various types. The school here on the Marquettis, Fuga Magisters would have flown in the Silver Swallows at some air displays. I spent a time in Gormston when we had our Cessnas up there. I came back then on the government transport, so I was flying the Gulfstream 4 for a number of years. Found myself back in as OC of Flying Training School. We're standing here in front of a PC-9, so I brought the PC-9s into service then in 2004. And then I suppose I was getting senior at that stage, so I moved into what we call the command appointments. So I would have done some staff jobs anyway. I was in Air Corps quarters as an operations officer, OC number 1 operations wing, all the time flying. And then I suppose really when I got promoted to colonel in 2016, that was, I stopped flying and more administration behind the desk at that stage, and I took over my role here as General Officer Commanding the Air Corps back in April 2019.
And you've made some big changes some big changes have happened since you have taken that position as well. You've had new aircrafts come in the last 4 years as well.
Yeah, I suppose been very fortunate here. There has been a lot of investment in the Air Corps. The big one, I suppose, is our Airbus Military 295 aircraft. You probably saw them. So they've replaced our original 235s. And we're in the process now of moving forward with transformation, I suppose, from an Air Corps into an Air Force. That's been enabled by the report from the Commission on the Defence Forces, and that will see some structural changes here in the Air Force as we become an Air Force, an increase in personnel numbers, but also an increase in capability, which will be delivered through new training aircraft, new larger helicopters, and just a complete redevelopment here of Baldonnel, and looking towards the future in terms of what we do. So we're the air component of the Defence Forces, so we deliver capability for the Defence Forces and the state. And as we look towards the future transforming, we'll have a greater role in that into the future.
For students thinking about their careers now in TY, a lot of people would think like you have to stick with one job and things aren't going to technically change within that job when they're there. With a civil job, it does differ than being here in the Air Corps. You yourself have gone through different career paths within the Air Corps, being allowed to stay working and flying up until 2016. So for somebody thinking about their careers now, the Air Corps would be fantastic for them to go to, no matter what side they want to go to. So there's 3 career pathways to come into the Air Corps, but once you're in the Air Corps, there's so many different jobs for you to go for anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's always getting inside the organisation is the important piece, but certainly the possibilities are endless and the opportunities are endless in that as well. We have people in the technical side. Technical can be the light sort of side of that, or the heavier, where you're doing heavy maintenance on the aircraft. You have the administration piece in that as well. Logistics is quite important to us. All the support elements, air traffic control, refueling, and then the airworthiness, the oversight, the regulatory piece, the operations piece. But getting in is the important piece. The Air Corps is very much a technical organisation. Everyone here almost has a specialist skill, because the flying bit is the easy part. It's getting the aircraft out and getting airborne. It's all the support elements that look after getting that aircraft from here to airborne is the critical element. Well, some pilots may not like me saying that, but that's just the reality of it. If you think of the pilot who's doing the air ambulance with the 2 pilots and the crewman down out of Athlone, say, to enable them to happen, there's a huge logistical chain, a huge support chain that has to, from a maintenance piece, even the clothes and equipment that they wear, the safety equipment that they wear, the oversight, the operations piece, the regulatory piece. So there's it really is a whole of organisational effort to allow that operation to take place. And we have quite a huge variety of operations that we do here, from the flying training school, where we teach the initial skills and develop personnel as pilots, our technical training school, we have a military training school here, all under the Air Corps College. And then we have our air traffic control piece, our flight operations side, I suppose, in that regard. And even within the flight operations, your rotary wing and your fixed wing, 2 complete different areas of opportunity for people to develop their skills.
What would be the key benefit for somebody joining?
I suppose looking back on my own career, that it's the people who work here. So you're developing a belief, a confidence in yourself, ability to go into most situations and be able to, no matter what life throws you in that regard. And that starts off, I suppose, at the basic military training. And you can't escape that, because you bring everyone to a particular level in terms of their fitness, their how they understand, I suppose, the military side of how we operate here, because we are a military air arm, so that's a critical piece there. And I think by setting that stone, laying it down very carefully at the start, irrespective of where people find themselves in the organisation or outside of the organisation, as people do, they have that fundamental set of basic principles that they've learned here, those values, I suppose, that we bring through the organisation. I think once you set that foundation properly and correctly, and people understand it, well, it doesn't really matter where they go, because they're able to rely and call back on that always. And for people who stay here for their careers, people who just do a few years here and move on and maybe come back into the organisation as well, and it does stand to them across the board.
Have you seen many leave and come back? Would they come back as to help train new students, or? Well,
COVID has helped obviously in that regard, because there was I suppose a slowdown outside, so we did get people back. Some of them have already gone back out to where they were beforehand. The opportunity for people to come back into the organisation has only really developed in the past couple of years. And again, any organisation that's worth its worth, that's trying to transform, you have to understand that people, if they seek to go back into the organisation, they bring something back with them that they might have learned outside, and you have to, I'd say, welcome them back in, because the organisation will develop and grow as a result.
Yeah, so everybody brings new skill themselves, whether they've trained outside or they're developing their own skills behind the scenes. They can bring something new to the front when they're in school, and they're learning new things now in secondary skills that we would never have learned in computing or anything like that. They have photography, social media studies. They've different studies now in secondary skills and skills that they're developing that they can then also bring in to rejuvenate and upskill the Air Corps.
No, absolutely, and it's all about trying to, I suppose, increase our diversity in terms of who we bring in, backgrounds, training, qualifications and that as well. Because you need that to make the organisation grow and develop. We even see it with students coming into on our pilot training or our technical training. They're different to what we would have been, certainly I would have been 40 odd years ago. And you're right, they have a totally different outlook on life. The organisation has to develop to accommodate that. Even the impact of social media over the past few years has been quite significant, and how we interact and look at that. And then allowing them the opportunity to develop and to bring their own skills to the fore in that regard. So we are a learning organisation as well, so it's important that we look into that and make sure that we build on what each individual brings to the organisation.
As they're developing, you're developing.
Correct.
As you're developing, they're developing. So it is like a great partnership to have there as well, and to be open to that.
Yeah, well, I think it's if you're not a developing and learning organisation, you're going to be left behind. People will look elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's trying to convince people that, as I said, that we allow that, we encourage that, and certainly in the air environment, we do have a slightly different approach, because we have to have, given the nature of the operation that we do, and give people the opportunity to move forward, I suppose, contribute to the greater good, I suppose, and ultimately the achievement of the message, which is the mission, which is what we're all about here.
And I mean, like, one of the most recent things that are coming in over the last couple of years are drones. So that's
Correct.
something that's come in here as well, unmanned aircrafts. So that's something that I know you are developing here more and more as well. There'll be new tech coming in for that. We're so different to other air forces around the world, where we're still developing from an early age, and you're trying to bring it into the new phase as it is.
Well, 2 years ago we celebrated our centenary. Actually, just the 23rd of March is our 102nd birthday. So that was a significant milestone for us. I suppose in terms of moving from an Air Corps to an Air Force, we have our own independent roles that we carry out, and that gives us greater autonomy for our recruitment, our training and development of our personnel, promotion of our personnel, and that's where we need to move forward. Just mentioning the likes of the drones, or RPAS or UAVs, whatever phrase we use to them, yeah, absolutely, that's been a massive change over the past couple of years. You can see it happening around, from a commercial piece, from a private piece as well, and also from the military, as we're all too aware of. In the Air Force of the future, and even now as the Air Corps, I am responsible for oversight of all that operations in the whole Defence Forces, regulating that as well. And we are developing that capability, and we'll further develop that capability for ourselves into the future.
We help other parts of the Defence Forces out. There's always working together. It's not just the Defence Forces, it's the air ambulance. You're helping out hospitals. The guards also have an element from here as well. So there's cross-border throughout the whole country. We're mostly based here in Baldonnel. A lot of people still aren't fully aware of that. But there's also at Lone, so that is under the Air Corps, is it?
Yes, I suppose I'd agree with you there. Us getting our message out is a problem we have. Trying to convince people we're not the Army, we're not the Navy, we are the Air Corps, and certainly we offer unique opportunities for people in terms of training, developing them. Our primary role, I suppose, is to support the Defence Forces, and whether it be the Army or the Naval Service. We also deliver for government as well. So you mentioned the air ambulance in Athlone, so that's the Emergency Air Medical Support Service. That's done in agreement with the HSE and the National Ambulance Service. So we provide a helicopter, air crew and technicians, and they have an advanced paramedic on board, and they respond to taskings as given to them by the National Ambulance Service 365 days a year. And that's now 12 years in operation, and it's been hugely successful in terms of responding to the needs of Ireland, the people, the citizens of Ireland. And a lot of what we do is actually giving back to the state. So we do, well, that's a particular type of air ambulance. We also do a lot of inter-hospital transfer, neonatals. When we got our first helicopters in 1963, We were very early into the air ambulance transportation piece because of the benefits of helicopters. We've maintained that since. We do regular flights across to the UK and Europe, transporting people for transplants and serious operations. And certainly the Air Corps' ability to deliver for Ireland is quite important. We have operated on a global footprint, so I have been around the world flying as part of my job over the years, and we could continue to do that into the future. Delivering for people, whether it be bad weather, helping out farmers isolated, flood relief, fighting forest fires, and gorse fires have been a critical one for us over the past couple of years. We will always continue to do that because that's part of our role in the Defence Forces, but particularly in the Air Corps, helping out the people and the state of Ireland also.
When you started off in the Air Corps, to even now, what are the biggest misconceptions that you've come across yourself, personally, that you've heard?
It's a bit hard sometimes to think back 42 years ago in terms of my perceptions of what I was going into. But I knew I was joining a military organisation. I knew there was the challenges in terms of the training piece there. And when you go in with that perception and understanding that I'm not sure what I'm letting myself in for, but there's a benefit to being in there, it'll sort of, it pulls you through the training piece, which can be challenging at times. It's supposed to be robust. All along, I suppose, I've never had sort of preconceived notions that have been challenged completely in relation to that. I have been challenged by virtue of my job. In 2008, I would have served in Chad for 6 months in an overseas appointment. And that was challenging from a personal point of view. How are you going to operate and deliver for whatever multinational organisation you're in? I did 6 months out there and was certainly one of the best opportunities I've had in the organisation. And that piece of overseas service, which again from an air component piece is going to develop in the coming years, brings its own rewards and benefits for the individuals. I have never had any situation where I've been sort of said this isn't standing up to what I want to do, because if I felt like that I would have left the organisation. And I've certainly never been in a position where I wasn't happy to put on the uniform on a daily basis. I still am happy to put on the uniform, and certainly would encourage anyone who's thinking of something, maybe not want to spend a couple of years in college or after college looking for something different, to consider us here in the Air Corps for career opportunities. And by career, again, I'm not talking about the 20 or 30 years. I'm talking about a few years to come in, learn a set of skills, develop your own ability to deal with situations, and then decide if you're happy to stay or want to move on to something different. The lessons that you learn here, we equip you with a set of tools from an individual point of view, will benefit you no matter where you go. So I still engage with my apprentice class, some of whom within a few years of joining, scattered to the four corners of the world, but they'll still reflect on the best of times was initial training that they would have done here, developing the friendships, developing that camaraderie. Some are still serving here, but a lot of them would have left, and we have reunions on an irregular basis, come back in here and are happy to be in here, and it's but they'll always go back to the foundation of who they are was set up here during their time in the Air Corps.
You mentioned that your class was a group of 48 when you started as an apprenticeship. When you started your apprenticeship, that has gone up and down over the years. With the new developments and the new apprenticeship TMAST, that's all going to hopefully change and bring the numbers back up, because there's a lot of benefits to be doing your apprenticeship here. There's pay, there's food, there's housing. You're in one place, you're not being scattered to the four corners of Ireland. But there's a whole new way in the Irish Defence Forces that they are training together at the start as well, isn't there?
Yeah, so I think again, trying to transform the whole organisation, under the Commission on Defence report, a joint induction training centre, and that is moving towards, I suppose, what we call full operational capability, where everyone who's joining the Defence Forces will go through the one set of training. And again, that helps develop the bonds and the friendships, so we're all in the same boat here in that regard, and that's based in Gormston, and they're moving towards realising that piece. For our point of view here, once you've done the initial what we call the recruit training, the 2-star training, you're back to here. and you're doing your training to develop as an aviator, because we are all aviators here. We may not all be pilots or technicians, engineers, but we're all aviators because we operate in the aviation environment. And that's a key piece, I suppose, that we have to try and develop. But we do train them here, we do house them, feed them, provide the opportunities here. And that's a key element, I suppose. We had large classes back then, but our training was totally different back then. The modern training that we apply here is under EASA Part 66, 147 approval from the Irish Aviation Authority. So all our technicians go through that same basic training. And it's technician training, I suppose, is a phrase we'll use to capture it all now. And they go through a set on-the-job training, theoretical training. Back when I joined, we did 2 years full-time in the school. We were up to hangars for 2 years on-the-job training, and then we were technicians.
Okay.
Over the period of training now, it's a combination of theoretical and on-the-job training.
Okay. Which
culminates in, as I mentioned earlier, in May of this year, we have our latest class who will graduate having completed their 4 years of training.
And so as well, when they're starting off, the general service recruits and the technicians, they're the apprentices, they all do their training, their 2-star and their 3-star training together. The cadets do it in the Curragh for 18 months, is it?
Well, again, we've changed that last year now.
Okay.
So the class who came in end of September last year are in the Curragh now. They'll come to us in July.
Okay.
So we've changed our cadet training syllabus. So they'll do the 9 months of training to come back here. They'll do their ground school training. So that's a 6 to 8 month piece in the flying training school. They do some other training blocks that we do, and then they'll get commissioned as officers in the Air Corps. And then they'll start the actual flying training in our PC9s then. The technician training, yes, it's our general service and our trainee technicians all do the exact same 2-star training and 3-star training. And with our general service aviators who come in, they then have the opportunity of applying for air traffic control courses, crew courses, whether it's on the helicopter, on the flight attendants on our MATS aircraft, ministerial or transport aircraft, sorry, or on the 295 photography courses, refueling, firefighting. So we have a huge range of opportunities there for people that they may want to go. But all the training has started off as the base level, so they've all done the training piece. And I think that's the strength, is the strength now, and will further develop our capabilities into the future.
What's the difference between doing those kind of courses and college or apprenticeship here and the cadetship here? You're getting paid from the get-go.
Correct.
So the minute you start your military training, you're getting paid straight through. The pay scale goes up over the years.
Yeah.
And it has changed as well in recent times compared to a few years ago.
Absolutely. So once you qualify as the phrase we use is a 3-star aviator, which is our basic airman, airwoman rank. Yes, you're on to the full pay scale as a standard soldier across the whole Defence Forces. And I think that's around €38,000 a year. There are opportunities to develop on that, whether it's through taking up either specialisation training, going on courses, and our technicians then go into the training school, technical training school, and then when they qualify as technicians, they're straight into an additional what we call increments in terms of technical pay that they're access to. And if personnel go into the flying or air traffic control, or even in our firefighting, they get extra technical grades then as well.
And back to yourself, really, is there anybody that you remember over the years that inspired you while you're working here? Because I'm sure when you're working so close with so many people over the years that there's other people that would inspire you or give you a great memory that you're kind of going, yeah, actually, do you know what, when that person did this, or, you know, when we did that together, your apprenticeship class, they're still in contact together, you still have a bond. So is there any particular memory or person that keeps revisiting, like flashback?
For good or for bad, I suppose.
Well, we'll go with the good.
I'd be careful to highlight someone, because if I say someone might get upset that I didn't mention someone else in that regard. No, as you go through the different phases and you're looking at people, it's not always the people above you who inspire you.
Yeah,
sometimes it's the people coming behind you, and you just see their approach to how they do their own training. challenges that they, like we all face challenges through training, right?
Yeah.
It's not designed to be necessarily that easy that everyone just saunters through it. But you're looking at people and you're saying, I was in that same situation again, whether it be on the wings course with a certain element of the flying phase you had problems with, technical training, or as you go through and you're trying to do that coaching, mentoring piece with people as they may be qualified but they're still junior, and you're just looking at them and say, Genie Mac, they're doing a fantastic job there. How come I wasn't that good when I was their age? And I think you pick up bits and pieces from them. So I suppose I'm lucky in the appointment I have now. I don't have to have my favourites in that regard, but I do see people who certainly put in a huge amount of effort, whose sole purpose is for the betterment of the organisation. And by doing that, then they themselves inspire others to move along in that regard. And you're probably foolish not to think that there aren't people you look at and say, yeah, he helped me there, she encouraged me to do that there. But I'd be slow to name individual people in case I get into a bit of trouble there.
Well, I think it's in everyday life though.
Correct.
It doesn't matter where you are. There's inspiring moments and inspiring people all around you. Like, it doesn't have to be anyone in specific, or it could just be a moment in time that has.
No, absolutely. And even some of the missions I would have done, say in when I would have been doing some air ambulance flights or that as well, when you're looking at how lucky you are compared to other people, you're bringing to a situation maybe that will improve their outlook on life. Or some of the operational missions I would have done in terms of, as an example, in 2009, Sharon Cummins was kidnapped in Sudan. So we responded quickly to that, and a few months later we went down to bring her home after she was released. So that's how we contribute to Ireland. Ireland, as we know, is a global brand. So the Air Corps, our ability with aviation is to respond very rapidly in all corners of the globe, and we had the capability to do that. And that allows us, so you do draw inspiration from doing a job well done. Obviously there are security jobs as well, defence roles we would have operated and would have been successful in some of them as well. So they're what give people the buzz, I suppose, allow them come through the organisation. And you hear one of the helicopters come in the background there.
I know, it's lovely. It's lovely, busy day today.
We're always busy. But the air ambulance that operates out of Athlone, the EAS helicopter, like, they contribute massively to Ireland on a daily basis in terms of what they deliver to your normal Irish citizens who may be in a remote parts of the country, who will have limited access to medical, and if they can respond rapidly and their resultant health improves, well, that's the whole team gets a great buzz out of that, and that's an ongoing piece that happens on a regular basis.
Fantastic. From all of the interviews that I've done over the last couple of days, and there's more to come as well, there isn't one specific area that I can even walk away and say, well, I prefer that one over that one. Everything just sounds such great opportunities within the Air Corps. Transition year students can come to the Air Corps and do an Air Corps week as well, try it out, sample it. Air Corps can always come to the schools and do chats with the schools, and you're more than happy to have schools reach out to you as well and get in touch, because the message really is come and work here and join our little team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, little at the moment, but we'll expand.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We do have a limited number of places on our TYHub.ie week here during the year, but we're more than happy to facilitate schools. The whole Defence Force, I suppose, has a push for recruitment now. The head of recruitment in the Defence Force, Lieutenant Colonel Maeve O'Grady, is an Air Corps officer now. She's leading the charge on that, and we're happy to facilitate how we can in relation to that. Part of our outreach piece is the like of, there's a fly-in in Burr Airfield now in a couple of weeks' time that we have a helicopters down there and we engage with the public. The Bray Air Show is coming up on the August Bank Holiday weekend, so we have our aircraft up flying and we'll have a display stand in the promenade there in Bray as well. So we do engage as much as we can. Obviously we still have a job to do here, and it's trying to strike a balance, but certainly for the future there's fantastic opportunities here in terms of learning skills that people may never thought they would ever have the opportunity to learn. It is an expanding and growing organisation here. Our facilities are great. They have to improve to an excellent standard, and that will happen in the coming years. And that all just that work-life balance piece in terms of allowing people the opportunity to develop skills, work with a fantastic team, do something that's worthwhile, get a buzz out of it. And some, as I said earlier, may decide to stay here for a career or a number of years. Some may decide to go off and come back in. But I think it's just providing that foundation for people and for the families to understand that people come in here to get a great grounding in life, and then wherever life takes them after that.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much for
Thanks
taking your
Fiona.
time today and letting myself and TYHub come here to the Irish Air Corps in Baldonnell and have a little insight into what careers are actually like here. Thank you so much, Rory.
Anytime, Fiona. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.